of a fan or even better air conditioning. Just give me a moment to get everything up and ready to go. Great. Mel, Sophie, if you wouldn't mind just letting anybody in as they join, if they are joining. We're running a few others later this week for more experienced induction tutors who have worked with us for a few years now. So I suspect that's where the majority of our induction tutors are. Okay, so the second half of this session is going to look at the National Institute of Teaching's Early Career Teacher Program. So this is the training side of things. Mel and Sophie are going to stay on the call if you have any appropriate body queries that have just lingered and popped up now, so that you can ask them in the chat. And I'm also joined by my colleague Tessa, who I'll introduce in a moment. So a starting point for us this afternoon would be to introduce ourselves. If you're a new induction tutor or perhaps an experienced induction tutor, but you're at a school who is just joining the National Institute's training program from September for the first time, then we will be new to you. So thank you for choosing us and welcome to our ECT program. We're a national research and delivery organization. We synthesize, we evaluate, and we generate research around effective professional development for teachers at all stages of their career. And then we use those insights to shape the delivery of our training programs. That's who we are. We offer training from ITE through to ECTP, and then the National Professional Qualifications, as well as a School Trust CEO program. So quite literally, I hate this phrase, but from cradle to grave, we're there supporting teachers along the way. However, despite the national coverage and our ambitious undertaking, we really pride ourselves on regional, local delivery within your communities. And that's something, if you just Google our ECF Ofsted inspection report, that's something that really came through from Ofsted when they did their week-long inspection of our program, is they really couldn't believe the national scale that we were operating at, and yet the local contextualized community feel that our schools aligned with. We have a completely decentralized model, pardon me, and we've got teams working across 4 main regions. You are partnered with the East, South, and London region for delivery of your ECTP. And so in this region, we work with a range of partners from school trusts to teaching school hubs who will be in communities delivering our programs in the local context. And this is what enables us to stay close to what our schools need and ensure that our training is contextualized to your local settings. This is your regional campus team at East, South, and London. There are a few more of us, but these are the ones that you'll have contact with on a relatively regular basis. So my name's Kyla Ashby. I'm the head of ECF and NPQs. I'm joined by my colleague Tessa. Tessa, give a wave. Tessa's our ECF program manager, and Shanika Danapala is our ECF senior administrator. These are the 3 that you'll have fairly regular communication with regarding your ECT and mentor support. And as an organization, our mission is quite simply stated, but like I said previously, quite an ambitious undertaking. We want to improve the quality of teacher and leader development at a system level. And that's why we approach kind of accomplishing that through research. So we generate and interpret research, and then we apply those insights to the design and delivery of high quality teacher development programs. And we do not gatekeep. We share everything with the sector, and none of it sits behind a paywall. And that's really important to us, that what we provide and what we produce is accessible for all of our schools. And we exist because of the powerful fact. We know that the quality of teaching is the biggest in-school factor influencing children's educational success. And this effect is even greater for children experiencing the highest level of disadvantage. We also know that quality teaching is not evenly distributed across the English school system, and we don't know enough about the best ways to develop it, and it is hampered by persistent challenges with teacher retention or teacher recruitment. So in practice, this means that the children whose lives can be most positively affected by great teaching too often miss out. And we exist as an organization to change and challenge that. At its very simplest, we research and we teach. But crucially, our research is part of our teacher education programs, and it's a large portion of kind of what we do. There's a tight loop between research and practice, and we try to really shine a light on that loop. I think if you've not kind of familiarized yourself with any of our materials on our website, you'll see regularly across our training programs that we are often looking to make research accessible to schools and teachers, regardless of the stage of their career. And we are often accompanying any references to research with quite a simple, so what? So what does this look like in the classroom? What could this look like if you're working in special schools? What would this look like if you're teaching EYFS? How could you apply this theory into your specific context? That's really what we're aiming to do through our training programs. It's quite a nice segue into our ECTP training program. So our ECTP is centralized around the mentor and ECT relationship. We know from large-scale evaluations of CPD and from DFE evaluations of the Early Career Framework launch that this is what ECTs and mentors value the highest, and it's where they feel that their time needs to be dedicated most. Mentors are not just supporting their ECTs, but if they've not completed training previously, they are training themselves whilst undertaking a program of PD as a part of the ECT entitlement. Our program keeps mentoring at its heart in many ways. Mentors are one of our best resources, so we invest time in their training. We respond to their training needs and ensure the program is easy for them to manage. And everything else that happens in the program is underpinned by the mentoring sessions that take place weekly for ECT1s, fortnightly for ECT2s. And then you'll have noticed that on the peripheral of the diagram that's on the screen now, we have 3 types of live sessions as an integral part of our program. These include national expert webinars, subject and phase specialist sessions, and then local networking seminars. And all of these are facilitated by experts in their area as well as in their local contexts. So in an ideal world, this will work seamlessly. I will look like an IT magician, and you will be able to hear this recording. So let's give it a go. This is going to give you a really kind of concise overview of our ECTP for Year 1 ECTs. Tessa, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear it? So that was a whirlwind tour of mostly our Year 1 program with a little dabbling of our Year 2 and our mentor program. So I will break those down into a little bit more detail now. What I'm showing you is a a part or a section of the graphic that demonstrates the structure of year one of our training program. I'm just blocking quite a bit of it out because it can be cognitive overload. Now, I want to funnel your attention a little bit. So what we're really looking at here is the autumn term. So in autumn one, all of our year one ECTs will start with a unit on behavior and relationships for reasons I'm sure you're well aware of why we would be making that choice and getting ECT ones to start there for their training. Every half term, they undertake a new module of study. Within that module of study, they will start the half term by completing a core self-study. So that's a piece of reading and some snappy videos of what that might look like in practice and some reflection prompts, all around the core knowledge related to that module's topic. Then on the training platform, ECTs will complete a 20-question diagnostic quiz. That diagnostic quiz will point them to areas of further reading or further study based on that module's topic. It will also encourage them to talk to their mentors about areas for development, areas of strength. Then they'll be offered 5 additional elective self-studies. In autumn 1, from those 5, we ask that they choose just 2 because we know that there's a lot for them to be thinking about focusing doing in autumn 1. Every other half term, we'll ask that they pick 3. And across the rest of the half term, they'll complete their 3 elective self-studies. And that will be a deep dive or a narrow focus into a really specific aspect of learning related to that module title. So for example, in behavior and relationships, one of the elective self-studies might look at fostering intrinsic motivation or more effective ways to leverage the use of rewards in lesson. So really specific areas of study related to that topic that ECTs will be exploring. ECTs can do all 5 if they want. Tessa and I can see that some do. Sometimes, even though they've moved a module ahead, they choose to go back and complete more self-studies. But at a minimum, we'll recommend that they're choosing 2 in autumn 1, 3 in autumn 2. In every half term, they'll have a live in-person training session. These are rooted within your local communities, led by practicing school leaders. And they're about 90 minutes long. We tend to schedule them on a Wednesday afternoon from 4 till 5:30. We've just heard from our head teachers that cover is becoming quite a challenge. And so we try and support by keeping those training sessions within directed time, but outside of teaching time. And then once every long term, we'll host a national expert webinar. Those are online for 90 minutes as well. So more on those in a moment. And so the rest of the year follows in that similar pattern. But one thing I've not focused on relates to the arrows along the top, showing that you could swap autumn 2 with spring 1, etc. So the sequence of learning that you can see on the screen, where autumn 2 is aligned with memory and learning, or spring 1 is aligned with planning and delivering, this is our default sequence. If you do nothing, this is the sequence of learning that your ECTs will follow. But looking at this and knowing what you know about your school's context and your school's approach to whole school CPD, you might feel like summer 1 is far too late for your ECT ones to be really focusing on assessment. And it may be that actually across your setting, you're going to be doing a whole school deep dive into assessment in autumn 2, and you would rather your ECTs learn about assessment in autumn 2 alongside the rest of your school. So we've built in the opportunity for induction tutors to go onto our training platform and manipulate the sequence of learning that ECTs will experience across year 1 and year 2. So if you want your ECTs in autumn 2 to be doing knowing your learners or subject and curriculum, you can go and manipulate that sequence to a way that more aligns with your whole school priorities. Caveat, you cannot manipulate the sequence for an individual ECT. Any changes that you make will apply to all ECT ones at your setting. And we do have a cutoff date by which point the sequence becomes fixed for the rest of the year. So we give induction tutors until, what is it, Tessa? Usually about mid-October? Yeah, about mid-October. We'll communicate that date with you guys a lot and show you how to go and manipulate the sequence if you want to. But again, if you do absolutely nothing, this is the sequence that the learning will reveal itself to your ECTs across year one. The self-study and the in-person training sessions sit independently of each other. The in-person training sessions are scenario-based, so they're really about kind of collective problem solving, bringing together all of their learning and integrating rather than looking at learning in isolated silos and thinking about how they would use the variety of their skills as a teacher to kind of work through challenges and common difficulties that teachers face. So if you make the decision to manipulate the sequence and move everything around, you're not going to be disadvantaging your ECTs when they turn up to that half-terms training session. So I hope I've made that relatively clear. Now let's take a look at year 2 of the training program. So the pattern of year 2 really closely follows the pattern of year 1. Every half term, ECTs will undertake a module of study, but they're not repeating the learning from year 1. They're revisiting, but in much greater depth. In year 1, they would have been learning about the knowledge, the teacher knowledge base around behavior and relationships, how to set effective routines, entry and exit routines, and repairing relationships, those sorts of things. In year 2, they're exploring the research that underpins those effective strategies so that they can start to develop a bit more of a critical lens and determine which strategies might work for them in that class that they've got on that day, that year. And that's really what we want to see from our year 2 ECTs. Moreover, year 2 is meant to be active. We don't want ECTs in year 2 to be passive learners. We want them to be making choices about what they will focus on every half term for their learning, what they will take away and apply into their classrooms, make decisions about whether it's having an impact and how they will adapt it in order to have a greater impact. So there's significantly more autonomy in year 2 of the training program than in year 1. So ECTs will still complete core self-study, but it will be more of an opportunity for them to reflect on their progress so far, and they will complete a diagnostic. And then following that diagnostic, they'll choose one of 3 research summaries that have been provided to them. So it's not the research paper itself, although we do also provide that, and we get a lot of ECTs who go away and are quite keen to read the actual research article. What our content team has done is they have produced a summary of that piece of research, and then like really helpfully linked it to what that research might look like in practice. And they've done that for every key stage. So they will, and that will be tailored for your ECT. So at the start of the year, if your ECT says that they teach secondary, they will get secondary examples of what that research might look like in practice. If your ECT says they teach in alternative provisions, they will get examples of what this might look like in an alternative provision. So it's really tailored, contextualized suggestions of how to apply the learning to their practice. So they'll choose one research study every half term, and they'll go away and work with their mentor to think or explore ways in which they can apply that learning to their practice to make a change of some sort. So it might be that they want to implement a different strategy that half term, and then they'll make a plan and they'll implement it. They'll revisit it, they'll review it, they'll work with their mentor to determine if it's having the desired impact. They might adapt it. They'll review at the end of the half term. Did this strategy have the outcome I wanted? Is it something I'm going to carry forward and continue doing? Is it something that may only work with certain students or certain classes? Every half term, ECT2s will continue to meet for 90 minutes. So one training session every half term, although these sessions in year 2 will alternate between being in person in their kind of local communities, but also online in subject or phase groups. So there is that kind of subject enhancement that you see coming through in year 2. And then we have another full suite of national expert webinars. So that's one every long term, online for 90 minutes. You can manipulate the module sequencing in year 2 as well. And it will marry up with the mentors account as well. So mentors are getting support with what their ECTs are learning about at that time. So this has been referenced a few times now, the National Expert Webinars. These are some of the experts that we have featured this year. They are online. We've got Alex Quigley delivering a session on literacy and oracy. Bradley Bush delivers a session on research literacy. Kate Jones delivers a fabulous session on formative assessment. And as I said at the start, we are not gatekeepers. So we share this link with you as induction tutors. We also share it with your mentors. Everybody is welcome and invited to attend, but for ECTs, it's a compulsory part of their training program. We have quite a few schools quite nearby to where our campus is based that we know will host like a whole school CPD in the hall, and they'll broadcast Alex Quigley, Bradley Bush, Kate Jones, Sonia Thompson for that week's whole school CPD, and bring every member of the staff down to watch that. And we're absolutely fine with that. Please do make use of this really valuable resource. Finally, for those of you with mentors who have not undergone any for those of you with mentors who have not completed any mentor training, when you add them to the DFE platform, they will pull through to us as mentors that require training. The training is 1 year long. And again, kind of structured in a similar way to the ECT program. Your mentor is not learning about behavior and relationships or memory and learning. Those subheadings are just there to signpost the different areas of the curriculum that that mentors might be working through alongside their ECTs, because the mentor program aligns with the ECT program. So as your mentor is working with your ECTs, they get 2 things on this training program. The first is in green there. They get support materials. So these are weekly 10, 15-minute on average, although that's probably pretty generous, reviews of what the ECT is learning. That's it. It just kind of tops up their awareness of what their ECT has gone and done that week, provided they've done their self-study. And so those are quite regular. If your mentor is supporting an ECT 1 and meeting with them on a weekly basis, I would say that the mentor is accessing these support materials on a weekly basis, ideally reading them before they meet with the ECT, so that they're going into that meeting with an awareness of what the ECT is learning about at that point. Alongside this, mentors are also engaging with training of their own. So they're engaging with training around key mentor skills. In Autumn 1, we ask that all of our mentors complete a 30-minute, and again, that's probably pretty generous, a 30-minute self-study on deliberate practice. That should say deliberate practice, I've just seen that. And the reason for that is because we ask that in the weekly or fortnightly ECT mentor interactions, that mentors are leading deliberate practice with their ECTs. We don't want these meetings to be solely focused on, administrative conversations or checking up on the ECT and seeing if they've done all their work. We want them to be like micro training sessions for the ECT each time. And so we prompt our mentors to follow a structure that we'll support them with that involves giving the ECT some feedback, prompting the ECT with some reflection questions, kind of creating a plan together for how the ECT will implement a strategy or that feedback that they've been given, and then practicing it live in the training session together. And so in order to do that effectively, we want all of our mentors to be upskilled or introduced to deliberate practice. That's why they're starting in Autumn 1 with that topic. We present that topic in 2 versions. We'll present mentors with self-study for those that are more experienced with deliberate practice, and we'll provide one for those that are a bit new to deliberate practice. We just ask that they complete one. And then they will get 5 more self-studies. And we ask that for the rest of the year, they choose 2 to complete. They can do it at their own pace. They can do them straight away. They can wait until towards the end of the year. We obviously would suggest that they do 1 per long term, just to keep to pace. They can do all if they want to. They could do more as they go. It's entirely up to them. And I think if you read the topics of the self-studies, you can probably, I hope, see that these are core middle leader skills. Anyways, like regardless if this person's been mentoring for years and years and years, the content is quite rigorous and really kind of good training for mentors. Alongside this, mentors have 1 training session every long term. So that's a 90-minute session 3 times a year. Those sessions run in person. And then they will also get the invites to the national expert webinars, but those are optional for them. They don't have to attend. Okay, I've referenced loosely a few times our online learning platform. So our online learning platform is created by an organization called Evidence-Based Education. You may be familiar with them. They've created this program for us called PRISM. And this is the online learning platform that ECTs will get a login to, mentors and induction tutors also get a login to. But each of these logins do slightly different things. So I'm going to switch to Tessa now, and she'll show you some screenshots just to warm you up to PRISM. There will be support guides shared with you as well, and plenty of other things to help you out as you go. This is just to warm you up a little bit.
Hello. All right. So we are going to just take a moment to take a look at PRISM. And I do just want to start by saying that in September, we are going to have a few different drop-in sessions online. So if you have questions or want to get another look at some of the key pieces on the platform, you will have time to do all of that. But this really is your sort of one-stop shop for your ability to track engagement, see what your ECTs and mentors are doing, and take a look at meeting notes, etc. So some of you may have already gotten PRISM logins. For induction tutors, those are coming through as sort of within 48 hours to a week of being registered on the DFE portal. But ECTs and mentors who are registered, they won't receive their logins until the end of August. For induction tutors, you have a special induction tutor PRISM account. There will be only 1 induction tutor account per school. So that will be for the named induction tutor on the DFE portal. If you have multiple people who are sort of supporting in an induction tutor capacity, there are some workarounds that we can help you with, but there will just be 1 PRISM account. When you log in first, you can see there is a dashboard and there will be a school overview. But I think the most important place to start is when you click into this participant overview, because it allows you to do some key pieces. It allows you to see the self-study engagement for each of your ECTs and mentors. It allows you to see the seminar attendance, so you can see whether an ECT or a mentor has attended or caught up on a seminar, or whether it's missed at the end of a half term. It allows you to see meeting counts, and you can also see when the last time an ECT or mentor logged in, which is really useful at the start of the year. If you're trying to see if they have access yet, then you'll be able to see, oh, that they've actually already logged in. I know they have access to the platform already. The other piece is you can actually see their overall percentage of engagement for any ECTs or mentors who have started since September 2025. So if you have those who are still completing from before that, you won't see an engagement percentage, but for anyone since September 2025, you'll see that engagement percentage sort of increase over time. And one reason that that's really useful is because ECTs and mentors need to complete 75% of engagement at a minimum for their training. So we want them to do all of it, but a minimum of 75% is required for completion of their programs. And so you can just keep an eye on that percentage as the year goes on. After you will see that dashboard, the next sort of key piece is where you can actually go into your participant management, and you can see each of your ECTs and mentors in a little square. This is really important because this is where you'll be able to pair your ECT with their mentor. Sometimes that information will pull through already correctly, but with different mentor changes, or if somebody has been added late to the DFE portal, this gives you the power to be able to assign them right away. And that's really important because that way the mentor will be able to set meeting records and add their notes with their ECT. So you have the power to do that on this page by clicking next to their name. The other thing that you can do here, I think somebody asked about this before in the chat, is that there are 3 dots, and you'll be able to click on those 3 dots if you want to send a message to your ECT. And so if there's a nudge or if you want to send a celebration, you can do that through this page as well. We've also got the ability to view workspace here. So if you're curious what your ECT can see on their page, you can click that and you can actually see it from their view, sort of like an emulate. And that allows you to see what part of the program they're on, what that looks like to them. For mentors, they have their own accounts. And I will say there are some induction tutors who are also mentors, and this will all be housed for you in the same account. But for mentors, they will have their own account where they can see what their ECTs are up to, what their engagement looks like, what they need to catch up with. And it also gives them an overview of their own program, so they can see what self-study they've done and what seminars they've completed or need to catch up on. All of that is sort of housed in their dashboard when they sign in, so it's really easy for them to see. Similarly, for ECTs, they have an account which is a little bit more streamlined because they can only see their account, and they can access their dashboard, which gives them a now and next board. So it tells them what they should be looking at right now, what they need to do next, what they might need to catch up on if they've missed something. And it gives them really helpful links to be able to get to those key pieces. So for example, if they've missed seminar A and it's now the second term, they will be able to see that it's missed, and they'll be able to click on a little link to take them there so that they can catch up. They'll also have access to all of their self-study when they click on My Learning, and it's laid out really neatly in a module bar in order so that they can follow along half term by half term. One of the things that I think is really useful, and I'm actually going to go back one slide to show you. If you take a look here, it's the same on all accounts. So Induction, Tutor, Mentor, and ECT. On the right, there is something called Quick Links. And at the bottom, there's a little link that says Knowledge Base. And that is the Prism Knowledge Base, which is a portal to find guides and short videos to support different Prism activities. It's really useful if you're thinking, oh, I know that at some point I was told I could view how many of my ECTs went to their last seminar, but I don't remember where to find it. You can look at the knowledge base, and all of the little guides are laid out by role. So guides useful for induction tutors or for mentors or for ECTs, and you can pop there to see those different pieces. You can also bookmark it, which is helpful, but it is always in those quick links in your Prism account, so you'll always know where to find it there. And I'm just going to name one last piece, which is new for next academic year, and that is the recording tool. So from September, ECTs will have the ability to record their lessons straight from Prism, and they can share them with their mentors to be able to get feedback on them as well. And mentors also can record their lessons if they want to model effective practice. At the moment, the only thing that induction tutors need to do is sort out the permissions. And so that's available in Prism. If you are already the induction tutor and you have an account made, you will be able to see that in the menu on the left. There's a little tab that says recording tool permission, and you'll be able to click on that to go through the permission process. And otherwise, we're sending out more information via bulletins to whoever the current induction tutor is, if they're already with us. And we'll also be sending information out in September. So there's a lot of information there to be able to see this new tool, which should be really useful for ECTs in the next academic year. That was quite fast, but I am just aware of time and that there might be some questions. And I do want to say again that in September, we will have some drop-ins, and so any specific Prism-related questions we'll be able to support you with there. So last key steps. We want you to make sure that you have registered your ECTs with your appropriate body. So that may be Harris Institute via ECT Manager, or if you're using a different appropriate body, you may be able to, you'll need to register with that appropriate body. If you are brand new to using the National Institute of Teaching, then there is a quick form for an expression of interest on our website, and we'll send that link around again. And then there is the requirement to register on RECT, the DFE portal, which I know we've mentioned several times already. And then finally, we have a onboarding form, which just gets that key information so we can make sure that your ECTs and mentors are registered with us and that they will get the correct comms. All of these steps you should hopefully have seen already, but we will send them all out again after this meeting. That's why we've taken everyone's names and contact details so that we can share all of this out again. So, do we have any questions? I think any of us are happy to answer for either AV or for the training side, and we will leave some time for that now. And feel free to, I know that people are already asking in the chat, or if you want to pop off mute, we can answer questions aloud as well.
We're taking silence as a good sign. I think we've had like regular questions come through in the chat, which we've been able to pick up because there's a few of us on the call. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's come a long way. It is a totally different beast from when it first launched. And I think that speaks volumes to how responsive, or I hope, how responsive we and the team at Evidence-Based Education have been. They, as a digital infrastructure team, are just really keen to provide a product that is incredibly efficient for schools. And we are the vehicle to communicate that with them. Tessa spends a significant amount of time on Prism, but you guys will spend a lot of time using Prism, like in a really practical way. So if at any point across next year, you feel like you've got feedback or something you wish Prism did or could do a bit differently or better, please communicate that with us. We are always so keen to hear how things could be improved for you, and Evidence-Based Education respond to that feedback really quickly. So yeah. Okay, well, I always end a meeting by saying we're not here to hold anybody hostage. So if you've got what you needed from the meeting, you are more than welcome to drop off at this point. Thank you so much for giving us your very, very hot afternoons. We really appreciate it. And we hope you got everything that you were looking for this afternoon. Sophie, would you be able to stop the recording?